Hello everyone, MegLovesGamesYT here, and welcome to my first little build in The Sims 4. Well, my first speed build in The Sims 4. I guess you could call my LP house the first one, but there'll be a speed build for that anyway, so, yeah. Lots of confusement happening. Anyways, this is a little house that I have called Kindling Cottage. I don't know why I called it that. I don't know. I think I was thinking of something and it reminded me of the word kindling, so I ended up calling it Kindling Cottage. But yeah, it's kind of a small little house, and I kind of went with a style that I'm not used to in the slightest, so I don't know why I tried to even like build in The Sims 4 in this style yet. I mean, if anything, you'd probably expect me to stick to something modern, considering the fact that that's where my comfort zone is. But no, I went with something kind of more traditional, and I don't know how it went, to be quite honest. It's not my favourite build ever. I've got a couple of builds that you'll see pretty soon that I like a bit more than that. But I don't think it looks bad. I mean, the interior definitely looks quite nice. It's like I said, it's definitely a different style to what I'm used to. So yeah, I hope you all like it anyway. But yeah, it's kind of top heavy, like all the Sims that I bet you all are making, like nice and top heavy. But yeah, I was just trying to like come up with like some interesting shapes, which I'm not used to in this sort of style of build. Like, I can create shapes in modern builds quite easily, but when it comes to the more traditional kind of build, it's a little bit harder. But I think it worked out alright. It meant that I could fit in a nice big amount of bedrooms, but I'm tempted, well, if you guys like add this to your game, you could probably like turn one of the bedrooms into a better living space, because there's not really much living space downstairs. I mean, I can barely squeeze in a kitchen at the bottom, to be quite honest, because the stairs ended up being so big because I wanted to use the super tall height through the bottom floor because I thought it looked good, and I'm kind of in love with the super tall wall height. But you guys already know that. Yeah. Just trying to work out things to do in the house. Trying to get that. I wanted a little curved bit in the centre so I could get, like, the plan was so that I could get some spandrels going on, because when I did this, I wanted to really play with the spandrels and stuff. That was kind of the plan for the house, because you can't really do much with spandrels in a modern house, especially considering the spandrels we've got in the game. So yeah, that was the plan. I've done my old Meg thing where I've just stood still for a bit. Well, oh, I got a new follower during that bit. Thank you, new follower. For those of you who don't know, my origin name is MegLovesGamesYT, because MegLovesGames was taken, so I was like, I'm MegLovesGames on YouTube, hence YT. But yeah, I've got the LP house up. I've got 3 other builds at this very point in time. I'm working on a fourth or a 5th build on my hand, because I counted them weirdly. And I've got my LP family, and I stuck up another Sim that I quite like. She's one of my characters I'm playing at the moment, so she's not the only one. I've got 2 little households and stuff, and then I've got like a room which you will see in another build pretty soon, because I used it in a build as well, because I thought that was a cool idea, so I did it. But yeah, this is just column crazy, and I kind of like the column craziness of it. I'll tell you what I do love is the fact that you can place the columns on the outside of a wall and they don't glitch inside, and I'm loving it, because, like, seriously, sometimes when you put columns on like a fence and stuff, you kind of want it to go onto the wall as well and look like it's all supported, and it was. and it was beautiful. And I tell you what I hate, the fact that spandrels have to apply to an entire room, or whatever they're called. But yeah, I kind of was messing around with all these trims and such. Don't worry, I fixed that bit at the back that is probably getting in your head right now. And I stuck a frieze in because it looked quite fancy and I quite enjoyed it, so I did it. And that's generally the consensus for all my builds. It's just I like it, so I'll do it. And I was just messing around with the roof tools. I definitely love the ability to just change the curvature of the roof. I think that's a really nice tool. Not so keen on the rooms. The rooms kind of piss me off at times, mainly for shifting purposes, but they still kind of bug me. And not only that, they don't always get recognised as rooms, so that's a pain in the ass too. I also did this other little thing in this roof that you won't see quite yet. That's another thing I hate. The fact you can't delete a wall from a roof, and I'm like, no, I want that roof to not have a thing. I want it to have an overhang. So if you heard Skype then, I didn't, but my thing started flashing, so I'm assuming you heard it. Yeah, sorry. And then, yeah, I stuck that little curved roof in that you just saw at the front. It gets taken out, but I was toying with it for a while and I kind of liked it, but I wasn't 100% on it. So I ended up just taking it out because I wasn't sure of how I felt about it. So yeah, the easiest route was to just get rid of it and work around it not being there. Because it kind of added something to the front, something different, but I'm not sure it was like a good choice in the end. It was kind of like an off choice, if you get my drift. It looks okay, but it doesn't look great. And that's where I stand on it, to be quite honest. So yeah, just adding indoors. Now I went with, because another reason why I built this house was because so many of the doors in this game are so traditional looking, because I guess they fit with the aesthetic of Willow Creek. Just all the windows are either really like contemporary or really traditional, and there's no in between, kind of. Like, you've got these full plates of glass and then these giant like rectangles, and like they're good, but there was times when I wanted a bit more in terms of like single tiled windows that could fit into any kind of house. They're just kind of like a general nice window. I kind of missed that from the game, and yeah, there's me trying to fix that and forgetting that it's not a frieze, it's an exterior trim. God, Meg, honestly. But yeah, that's where I was sitting on the whole thing, because I felt like there wasn't enough choice, and not only with what we've got, but the colour choices as well. Like the fact that with my favourite door, which you will see me use a lot, with my favourite door, you have to have like a colourful door, and you don't have a choice of like the colour unless you change the outside of it as well, and it was just annoying. And another thing I hate, which you are about to see, is the fact that not all the corners worked on this thing, and it just hated it. I do not like that. You can't add your own edging. Like, what if you wanted to do some edging on a blank wall, like just in the center, to just define like a different stripe of color? What if you wanted to do that? You couldn't, because the game works on rooms now and not necessarily just on walls, and that kind of annoys me, kind of. Like, there's some of it that I like. I like the ability to share rooms, that's quite nice, and the scaling is quite nice and easy, and I've been using that a lot to work out shapes and stuff. But it's still not perfect, and I'm not asking it to be, but I'm just kind of hoping that they add a little bit more functionality to it. later on, like, make it easier for us to add our own bits of trim on the edges of, like, wallpapers and stuff. Because they did with curtains, and I wish you could do that with the walls. If there was a little auto edging on that wallpaper thing, that would be fine. I'd be okay with that. But there wasn't, and it just gets at me, you know. They're just little things I don't like about The Sims 4. I nearly said 3. Gosh, and I'm still kind of getting used to the fact that it is Sims 4 now. But yeah, just working out a floor plan. As you can see, this inside is super tiny, on the downstairs at least. Upstairs is fine, and you have every right in the world to change one of those bedrooms into a living space, because there is no way you're going to fit really enough people in there to need 3 bedrooms. But I did it anyway, because yeah. Again, I used that lovely tile in there. I love just the sheen of some of those tiles. It's just fantastic. It's like the textures are quite nice, but there's not enough of them, you know. And we get to my favourite bit now, which is building kitchens. I'm actually loving making kitchens in this game, just because of the ability to do all the auto counters and stuff. Well, not the auto counters, but like the different pieces of the counters and all the different cabinets, and just fitting it all together just works out super nicely. And this one was a nice little challenge because it was so small that I just kind of played around with it and worked it out until I had something that I really liked. And yeah, it is a small little space, but everything's in there you need. You have your sink, you have your stove, you have lots of cabinets, you have a lovely range hood as well. I do love my hoods. My lovely range hoods. They're quite nice. And yeah, you'll see it all coming together a bit better in a second. I do have a couple cabinets about to go in. I decided to stick the fridge behind the stairs in the end, because it was a nice flat wall for it to go on, and with that I could add this like super tall wall cabinet right next to it, and it looked nice. And then I start messing around with like the other cabinets. I like the end pieces the most because they're the ones that normally have all the plates and bowls and stuff in with the glass, and I really like that. Also trying to work out if I could add some corners in, but I couldn't, which was a bit of a shame, but it ended up alright. And then I don't know if I'm getting to it yet, but yeah, I added a little nice dining table in. It can seat 3 people at once, so it's not awful, but again, not something you need 3 bedrooms for. So I would really recommend just like playing a game of let's turn this room into a living room instead. In fact, I might actually do that. Maybe if you go on my channel, not my channel, if you go on my little profile in game, you might see Kindling Cottage 2-bed version. I'll call it 2-bed version, and then you'll know that one of the upstairs rooms has been turned into a living space, which will be quite nice because you needed it. You seriously did. I don't know what kind of sim would be able to live in this. But yeah, and then here I am adding in curtains everywhere because I was like, well, you've got this new functionality of the curtains, there is the ability to shift them up a wall, and that's great. What I didn't like is that some of the curtain shapes didn't have like components for every size of window. Like some, I get that they have the same colours, but they don't have the same style necessarily, because some of them had like the valance at the top. Is it called a valance? I don't even know. I should know. I've worked in a curtains department before. Well, for like 5 minutes. But yeah, like some of them have got like the is it box trim? I don't even know. Some of them have got like the top bit. Some of them are just on a rod, like a rail, you know what I mean. And then the blinds, they were all different. And when you scaled them, they ended up being longer, and it wasn't right. And I just wanted them to have like the same type of curtain, exactly the same, but for the different sizes, rather than just having the same textures on a couple of different styles. I think that would have made it easier, because when you're building a house, you don't always go for exactly the same window across the entire house, so doing curtains would be a bit trickier. But yeah, this is all my little complaints about The Sims 4. This is not really me talking about the house, but I guess I kind of gone into the house. It's kind of cozy, cottagey, basically something I don't normally do, and that's basically it. I haven't been able to go to town on a lot of bedrooms that I've built recently. Like, I did one bedroom, maybe two, that I've really liked, but the rest of them have felt so bare because of the lack of move objects. I'd say my best bedroom I've ever made in the game has to be, I mean in Sims in general, had to be that really nice master bedroom that we got in Serenity 2.0. That was my favourite by far, and yeah, I haven't been able to build anything that I feel quite matches up to that in The Sims 4 yet. And obviously that was after 5 years of The Sims 3 and with move objects, so I'm not expecting to do just that. But I would like it to be easier to kind of clutter up a room, because they've given you clutter, which I appreciate. That is great, but they don't give you enough slots on a thing to make that clutter usable without move objects. That's my problem. I can't just stick end tables and dressers and shelves everywhere in a house. I want to be able to use the clutter in a way that looks more natural. So, yeah. This is like my little unofficial review of the game, I guess, because to me, build mode is the important bit. It's not for most people, but to me, the important bit is build mode, because it's what I do. It's what I do best. So yeah, I just really wanted it to be good, and there are some features that I really miss. Of course, creator style, but that's a given. There's no point me really going into that too much more. But like, just some of the ways you do things now, I just a bit. Oh, it just frustrates me like a tiny bit. And of course, missing cheats like move objects and CFE are making things a little bit trickier, because that's what happens. But here I am, just finishing off. I've been, at the end of my speed builds, I've actually been like showing you the little thing that I've uploaded to the gallery, and occasionally I do look through the pictures. I don't know whether I've done that on all of them, but I did in this one, and I just show it being uploaded, because why not? I think I was uploading during that, so that's why it took so long. But after this, we are going to go into the pictures, so that's good. Just for some reason I'm getting a good angle on it now. I'm taking a picture there. Here is the house. I've moved it to Oasis Springs, so it looks kind of different. But yeah, here's the living room, the tiny living room, which is probably going to be changed. The kitchen, which I actually quite adore, despite the size. It's another shot of the kitchen coming up. Here it is. I actually really adore this shot. It looks really nice with the chairs in front. And then we see a shot of this is the master bedroom, I believe. Yeah, I think it's the biggest one, and it has the balcony leading out from it. And another bedroom. I really do adore the carpet, but I need more colours. Just saying. And then the lovely simple bathroom. I didn't really go overboard with the clutter on this one. But yes, thank you for watching, everybody, and I will see you next time.